Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, we begin the final part in the Hakdam of the Mishneh Torah, the introduction to the Rambam's magnum opus, the Mishneh Torah, describing this Yad HaChazaka, the 14 different svarim that are calibrated based on the different halachas that are all from the Tag Mitzvos, and to understand how the division is of the svarim that the Rambam is going to open up in the next session with Mada, beginning with the beginning. Now we're ending off this introduction, which we're up to Sefer Yud, describing the 14 different svarim of the Mishneh Torah. Sefer Tahara, the book of purity, which the halachas are 8. This is their order. The laws of the impurity from a dead person. The laws of the red heifer, which is to purify one from the tumah of mess. The laws of tumah from tzaras. The laws of things which contaminate by the things that they lay on or what they sit on. The laws of other primary categories of tumah. The laws of the tumah of food items. The laws of vessels as it applies to tumah. And the laws of the purifying waters of a mikveh. So the laws of the tumas mes, mitzvah say achas. There's one positive commandment, the tumas mes, and that's the halacha of the tumah that comes from a dead person. The laws of the red heifer. Yesh b'chlon shtei mitzvah say, in the category there's two positive commandments. These are the specific. Rishon, number one, din paradim, the law that there is of the red heifer, and number two, din tumas meinida b'tarasan, the laws of the impurity and the purification of these purifying waters that are sprayed from the ash of the paraduma. The laws of the impurity from tzaras. Yesh b'chlon shmeina mitzvahs, in the category there's 8 mitzvahs. Sheish mitzvahs say, 6 positive commandments. Shtei mitzvahs leis say, and there are 2 negative prohibitions. These are the specifics. Number 1, lahayres b'tzaras adam, to rule regarding the tzaras on the person kedina akaz b'Torah according to the laws that are written in the Torah. Number 2, beis shloyokatzim on the tumah, not to cut off the signs of tumah b'tzaras. Gimel number 3, shleigalech hanesek, not to shave off the hair of the bald spot that there is in the negab tzaras. Dal number 4, that the Mitzvah should be well known with his torn garments, upriyas reishai, and his hair grown long, vatial safam, and that he has his cloak all the way over his face towards until his lips. Hey, number 5, taras tzaras, the purification of tzaras. Vav number 6, shegalecha mitzeras kol sa'orik sheyita, the Mitzvah should shave off all his hair when he purifies himself. Zayin number 7, din tzaras habeged, the laws of tzaras on the garment. And ches number 8, din tzaras habayis, the laws of tzaras when it's on a house. The laws of things that contaminate by the things that they lay on and that they sit on, which yesh b'chlom arba mitzvah say, in the category there's 4 positive commandments. These are the specifics. Alpha number 1, din tumas needed. The laws of impurity comes from menstruating woman. Base number 2, din tumas yeled, the laws of a tumah of a woman gave birth. Gimel number 3, din tumas zavad, the laws of tumah from a woman who also menstruates but a certain type of combination, becoming a zava. And dal number 4, din tumas zav, the laws of tumah from the male discharge from his male organ, also having a unique halacha of zav. The laws of other primary categories of tumah. Yesh b'chlol and sholosh mitzvahs to say. In the category, there's 3 positive commandments. These are the specifics. Of number 1, din tumas nevel, the laws of tumah of the dead animal. Beis number 2, din tumas the laws of tumah of certain specific types of dead insects. Gimel number 3, din tumas the laws of tumah of semen. And idolatry contaminates like a dead insect, where but it's tumas from rabbinic law. The laws of tumah of food items, mitzvah one positive commandment. That's the laws of tumah of food items and beverages, and their vulnerability to tumah. The laws of vessels. In the idea of these halachas is laid the kelim shabikabim tumah, to know the vessels that contract tumah mikol tumas, for all these tumas that we mentioned before. The kelim she'in mistamah, and the vessels that do not become tummy. And the ketzim mistamah kelim mistamah, and how do vessels become tummy and contaminate other things. Mikvahs, the laws of the mikvahs, which misses say achas, one positive commandment, and that's to immerse anything that becomes tummy in the purifying waters of the gathered mikvah waters, and then the thing becomes tar. Nimtzu comes out kol mitzvah, and the chlos b'sei b'zeh, all the mitzvahs included in this seif of tahara are esrim, are 20, mehen shmoine esrei mitzvah say, from them there's 18 positive commandments, ushtei mitzvah say, and 2 negative prohibitions. Yod Aleph, Sefer Nezakim, the 11th Sefer, the book of damages. There are 5 halachas. This is their order. The laws of monetary damages. The laws of theft. The laws of robbery and of a lost item. The laws of someone who damages and causes injury. The laws of a murderer and that of protecting a life. So the laws of monetary damagers, meaning when one's money damages. Yesh b'chlon arba mitzvahs say, in the category there's 4 positive commandments. These are the specifics. Aleph number 1, din asher, the laws of when his ox damages. Beis number 2, din ahever, the laws of when his ox or whatever animal uses its teeth to consume someone else's property. Gimel number 3, din haber, the laws of the pit. And Dal number 4, din haber, the laws of fire that consumes and causes damage. The laws of theft. Yesh b'cholon sheva mitzvahs, in the category the 7 commandments. Shtei mitzvahs say 2 positive commandments. Chamash mitzvahs say and 5 negative prohibitions. And these are the specifics. Av number 1, shalei give mammon, not to steal money. Base number 2, dinagam. What's the law of the thief? Gimel number 3, let tzaddik maznayim and mashkolas, to justify, to do righteous scales with their weights. Dal number 4, shalei asa oval b'midas mashkolas, not to do any perversion with the measurements and with the weights. Hey, number 5, a person should not have different types of stone, different types of measurements, even if he doesn't use to do business with, but the fact that they're off is not something you're allowed to even hold on to. Love number 6, not to push past someone's boundaries. And Zion, number 7, is not to kidnap. The laws of robbery and of lost items. Yesh b'cholon sheva mitzvahs, in the category of the 7 commandments. Shtei mitzvahs say 2 positive commandments, v'chamash mitzvahs say, and 5 negative prohibitions. And these are their specifics. Av number 1, shalei ligzol, not to rob. Beis number 2, shalei lashik, not to hold back someone else's money. Gimel number 3, shalachmoid, not to covet. Dal number 4, shalei abbas, not to desire. Hey number 5, shalei lahashves exela, to return what the one robbed. Vav number 6, shalei alman aveda, not to turn a blind eye from someone's lost object, and Zayin number 7, lahashav veda, to return the lost object. The laws of injury and of damaging, which mitzvah seach is 1 positive commandment. This is someone who injures his friend, or damages his friend's money. The laws of murder and of safeguarding a life. Yesh b'cholon sheva esrei mitzvahs, in the category of the 17 commandments. Sheva mitzvahs say 7 positive commandments, esrei mitzvahs say, and 10 negative prohibitions. And these are the specifics. Av number 1, shalei l'ritzach, not to murder. Beis number 2, shalei likach koifel nefesh ritzach, not to take atonement money, redemption money for the life of the murderer. Eliyumas, rather he has to be executed. Gimel number 3, lahaglis ritzach b'shgaga, that someone who killed by mistake has to go into exile. Dal number 4, not to take redemption money for someone who is obligated in exile. Hey number 5, not to execute the murderer when he killed the before he went through a court case. Vav number 6, to save the one who's being pursued, with the life of the one who's trying to pursue him. You're allowed to kill the pursuer. Zayin number 7, not to have compassion on the pursuer. Ches number 8, not to stand idly while someone else's blood is being spilled. Test number 9, to separate cities of refuge and to focus people with direction how to get there when they killed by mistake. Yud number 10, to decapitate the calf in by the raging stream when you find a dead body, you don't know who killed him. Yud Alf number 11, not to work on that land, and should not be planted ever again. Yud Beis number 12, not to place something that could cause someone's blood to be spilled in your area. Yud Gimel number 13, to make a fence on the roof that one should not fall off. Yudal 14, not to cause a stumbling for someone that's innocent regarding something. Tezvav 15, to help unload someone that stumbled on the road. Yudvav 16, to help him load up. Yudzayin 17, not to leave him on the road confounded with his load, and just leave him, you have to help him out. Nimtzu kol mitzvahs in the chalot b'sefer. It comes out all the commandments that are included in this sefer of Nizakim. Sheish u'shleishim are 36. Mehen sheish esrei mitzvah sefer. And then there are 16 positive commandments. The esrei mitzvah leisei, and there are 20 negative prohibitions. Yud beis. Sefer number 12 is Sefer Kinyan, the book of acquisitions. The halachas are 5. This is their order. The laws of sales, the laws of meriting and of gifts, the laws of neighbors, the laws of agents and of partners, and the laws of slaves. The laws of sale is yesh b'chol chamesh mitzvah. In the category, there's 5 commandments. Achas mitzvah say 1 positive commandment. V'arba mitzvah say, and you have 4 negative prohibitions. These are the specifics. Number 1, din mekach memka, the laws of business dealings. Base number 2, shlo yonim b'mekach memka, not to cheat when you're doing buying or selling. Gimel number 3, shlo yonim b'dvarim, not to cheat someone with words, hurtful words. Dal number 4, shlo yonim ger tzedek b'money, not to cheat a righteous convert with his money. And hey, number 5, shlo yonim b'dvarim, not to hurt him with words. Laws of meriting and of gifts. In halachas, the idea of these halachas are laid the din zeichem hefker to know the law when someone merits something from what's ownerless. Hey chikna, how could he acquire? Ubamei, with what could he acquire? Within the laws of someone who's giving a gift. Someone who receives a gift. Which gift has to be given back? Which does not have to be given back. The laws of neighbors. In halachas, the idea of these halachas are laid in chiluk hakakoyis bein hashutafim, to know the law of the division of properties between partners, and also the distancing of damage, each one from his neighbor, and someone on his boundary. And what's the law of the one that's on his boundary? Hilchas shluchim mishdaf, in the laws of agents and the partners. In el halachas, the idea of this halachas is related in shluchah shel adam, to know the halacha of an agent of a person, b'shutaf and his partner, mishpatei, and their laws b'mekacha and b'mkarcha regarding what they buy and what they sell. We have said the mischarim regarding what they lose and what they gain. The laws of slaves. Yesh b'chlon shleisha mitzvos. In the category, there's 13 commandments. Chamesh mitzvahs, say 5 pavis commandments. Ushmein mitzvahs, say and 8 negative prohibitions. And these are the specifics. Of number 1, din kinyi evet ivri, the law of acquiring a Jewish slave. Base number 2, shlei mocham mkeres evet, he should not be sold the way a regular slave is sold. Given number 3, shlei bedin b'ferch, not to work him with unnecessary harsh labor. Dal number 4, shlei nerger toishav lidus b'ferch, not to let even the resident non-Jew in your neighborhood to work him with unnecessary hard labor if he owns him. Hey, number 5, not to work him the type of work that a slave would have to do. Vav number 6, to load him up with gifts when he goes out free. Zayin number 7, shouldn't go out empty-handed. Ches number 8, to redeem the Jewish maidservant. Test number 9, liyada, to marry her. Yud number 10, that she shouldn't be sold. Yud alf number 11, to work with a non-Jewish slave forever. Unless if the master knocked out one of his primary limbs, then he goes free. Yud Beis 12, hasker eved, not to close up, to lock up a slave, so that fled from his master in Chutz L'Eretz Yisrael, now let us send him back. Yud Gimel number 13, not to go ahead and cheat this slave who was saved by us by coming to Eretz Yisrael, not to go ahead and then abuse him. Nimtzu kol mitzvah nachlas b'sefer comes out all the commandments that are included in this sefer of Kinyan. Shmoina Esrei are 18. Sheish mehen mitzvah say there are 6 of them are positive commandments. Ushtei mesir mitzvah say and 12 of them are negative prohibitions. Yud Gimel number 13, Sefer Mishpatim, the book of judgment. Halachos v'chamesh, the halachas are 5. These are their order. Halachas, the laws of rental. Halachas b'kadim, the laws of borrowing and of deposits. Halachas ma'avalev, the laws of a lender and the borrower. Halachas teminit, the laws of the claimant and the defendant. And halachas nachalis, the laws of inheritance. Halachas is the laws of renting. Yesh b'chlon sheva mitzvahs in the category of the 7 commandments. Shosh mitzvahs say 3 positive commandments, 5 mitzvahs say, and 4 negative prohibitions. These are the specifics. Number 1, din sacher, the law of the hired laborer. And b'shem misacha, someone who is getting paid to watch for his guardianship. Base number 2, litin schar sacha b'yem, to give the wages of the employee, the hired laborer, on the day that he was hired. Gimel number 3, shloi acher schar sacha, meaning on the day that he did his work. Gimel number 3, shloi acher schar sacha acher zmani, not to delay the wages of the employee after that time. Dal number 4, that the employee could eat from what's connected that he's doing work on. Hey, number 5, but that the employee should not eat from what's connected to the ground if it's not the end of the work process. Above number 6, that the employee should not transport with his hands, meaning more than what he's going to eat, and I'll put that in his pockets. Zayin number 7, not to muzzle the ox when it's threshing, and so too applies to any other animal. The laws of borrowing and of deposits. Yesh b'chlon shtei mitzvahs say in the category of 2 positive commandments. Rishon, the first one is din hashel, the laws of the one who borrowed something, and shni, the second one is din shemachin, the one who's watching for free what happens regarding the liability. The laws of the lender and the borrower. Yesh b'chlon shtei esrei mitzvahs in the category of 12 commandments. Arba mitzvahs say 4 positive commandments. Ushmein mitzvahs say and 8 negative prohibitions. These are the specifics. Of number 1, lahalbis la'ani b'mach, to lend money to a poor and to a destitute person. Base number 2, shlo say not to go ahead and press him for the money. Gimel number 3, lingus is nachi, to press the money if the borrower is a non-Jew. Down number 4, not to take collateral from the debtor forcibly. Hey, number 5, to give back the security to the owner at a time when he needs it. Vav number 6, not to delay the collateral from the poor owner at a time when he needs it. Zayin number 7, not to take security from the widow. Ches number 8, not to take security vessels that are needed for making food. Test number 9, one should not give money as a loan on interest. Yud number 10, that the borrower should not borrow money on interest. Yud alf number 11, asik adam, that a person should not be involved between a borrower and lender that are doing it on interest. Yud bename, should not testify between them. Shouldn't write a document. Shouldn't be a guarantor. Yud base number 12, to borrow from a Gentile and to lend him on interest. Laws of the claimant and the defendant. Mitzvah is 1 positive commandment. He didn't tell him that's the laws of the one who's making the claim. And if he admits, or denies the claim. Laws of inheritance. Mitzvah 1 positive commandment. But he didn't say that's the halacha of the order of inheritance. Nimtzu comes out called mitzvah and all the mitzvahs are included in this sefer of Mishpatim. Ashosh ve'esrim 23. Mehen achas esrei mitzvah. From them, there's 11 positive commandments. Ushtem esrei mitzvah, and there are 12 negative prohibitions. And Yudal, the 14th and final svarim of the Yad HaChazaka, Mishneh Torah is Sefer Shef in the book of Judges, which Hilchos of Chamish. The laws are 5. These are their order. Hilchos Sanhedrin, the laws of the High Court, and the punishments that are given over to them to decide. Hilchos Eid, the laws of testimony. Hilchos Mam, the laws of rebellion, of the rebellious person. Hilchos Eid, the laws of mourning. And Hilchos Melachim Mulchamas, the laws of the kings and of their wars, which are all in the judges category. Hilchos Sanhedrin, laws of the High Court, and the punishments that are given over to them. Yesh b'cholon shleishim mitzvos. In the category, there's 30 commandments. Esem mitzvahs say 10 positive commandments, esem mitzvahs say and 20 negative prohibitions. But these are the specifics. Of number 1, lamana sheftim, to appoint judges. Base number 2, lamana's dying, not to appoint a judge. Any day of Mishpat does not know the path of judgment. Gimel number 3, lintis achiram, to tilt the judgment after the majority. Im nechla sheftim, if the judges disagree. Dal number 4, shleilarig, not to kill. Im rabbi mechuyavim bish echad, if the majority that hold that he's liable just by one judge more, until there has to be 2 more judges that hold he's liable to execute him. Number 5, that he shouldn't be able to learn something that would find him guilty. If regarding capital punishment, one judge had already said that he's not guilty, he cannot change his mind to say he's guilty. Vav number 6, larg b'skila, to execute someone who's liable to be stoned. Zayin number 7, larg b'seifa, to execute someone who's liable to be burnt. Ches number 8, larg b'seif, to execute someone who's liable for beheading. Tes number 9, larg b'chenig, to execute someone who's liable to be strangulated. Yud number 10, litlis, to hang the one who is executed. Yud alf number 11, lik b'haneg b'yam gasai, but to bury the one who was killed on the day that he was killed. Yud beis number 12, shleiton neblased, that his dead body should not be hanging on the tree overnight. Yud Gimel 13, shalachas v'chashiv, not to keep alive someone who is a sorcerer. Yud Dalet 14, lahalkas l'rasha, to give lashes to a wicked person. Tezvav 15, shlo yisab b'koyz, but not to give an extra lash for the one who's liable for lashes. Yud Vav 16, shlo laharg noki, not to kill someone who's innocent, bu'um nadas, by just estimating and assuming that's what happened if it wasn't clearly seen. Yud Zayin 17, shlo lanish anis, not to punish someone who was coerced to do the sin. Yud Ches 18, shlo lachas al hori chaveiro irchilabay, not to have compassion on someone who kills his friend or who injures him. Yud Tes 19, shlo leracham al dal badin, not to have compassion on the poor when it comes to his court case. Chav 20, shlo lahad badin, not to glorify the great one in the judgment. Chavav 21, not to tilt the judgment regarding sinners, even though there's a sinner, not allowed to distort the law against them. Chav base 22, in general, not to pervert judgment. Chav Gimel 23, not to tilt the judgment of a convert, an orphan. Chav Dal 24, to judge with righteousness. Chav Hey 25, not to be afraid when it comes to a court case from a powerful person. Chavav 26, not to take a bribe. Chav Zayin 27, not to accept a false report, which includes when the other litigant is not there. Chav Ches 28, not to curse the judge. Chav Tes 29, not to curse the king. Lamed 30, not to curse any other upstanding Jew. The laws of testimony. Yesh b'chol shmein mitzvahs. In the category, there's 8 commandments. Shlosh mitzvahs say 3 positive commandments, and Chamish mitzvahs say and 5 negative prohibitions. And these are the specifics. Alf number 1, lahoyd bevezn l'misha yidei lo edis, to testify in court for someone that he knows testimony for. Base number 2, lidj v'lach edin, to investigate and to check out thoroughly the witnesses that they're saying the truth. Gimel number 3, shlo yireh ha'ed, that the witness should not rule b'din zeh, in this court case sheheid or love b'din the first that he had testified regarding capital punishment. He cannot now become a judge. Dal number 4, not to substantiate any halacha regarding the testimony of one person. Hey number 5, that a sinner should not testify. Vav number 6, that a relative should not testify. Zayin number 7, not to testify falsely. Ches number 8, to do to the plotting witness who was found to be a liar what he had plotted to do to the defendant. The laws of the rebellious person. In the category, there's 9 commandments. Shosh mitzvahs say you have 3 positive commandments, but shesh mitzvahs say and you have 6 negative prohibitions. These are the specifics. Of number 1, to do based on the Torah that the High Court tells you what to do. Base number 2, not to turn away from their words. Gimel number 3, not to add on to the Torah, not in the written laws, not in their interpretation that we learn from tradition, what's called the Torah Shabbat. Dal number 4, not to diminish from this whole Torah. Hey number 5, not to curse one's father and mother. Vav number 6, not to hit one's father and mother. Zayin number 7, to honor a father and mother. Ches number 8, to have fear from one's father and mother. And test number 9, ben, that the son shouldn't be a soyer rebellious and irrespectful regarding the voice of his father and his mother, which is a unique halacha called the ben soyer. The laws of mourning. Yesh b'chol arba mitzvahs in the category. There's 4 commandments. Achas mitzvah. One is a positive commandment. V'shalosh mitzvahs and 3 negative prohibitions. These are the specifics. Number 1, l'sabla krevim, to mourn over relatives. V'afil kohen, and even a kohen mistame makes himself tummy misabla krevim, and he mourns for relatives. They know the misabla al but no one's allowed to mourn over someone who's executed by the courts. Well, that's why I included these halachas in this sefer, which talks about judges, when they execute someone. Which is related to the halacha of burial on the day of the death. Which is a positive commandment. That's what we're talking about here, the halachas of Abel. Number 2, that the high priest should not make himself tummy to relatives when they pass away. Gimel number 3, not to go into the same room as a dead person. Dal number 4, that a regular kohen should not make himself tummy to a dead person, only if it's relatives. Hilchas melachim u'milchames. And the last halacha is the halacha of kings and their wars. Yesh b'chol and shalish ve'esem mitzvahs. In the category, there are 23 mitzvahs. Esem mitzvahs hasei, 10 positive commandments, u'shleish esem mitzvahs, and 13 negative prohibitions. And these are the specifics. Of number 1, lemanas melech miYisrael, to appoint a king from the Jewish people. Base number 2, shleiman mikal gerim. He should not be appointed from the assembly of converts. Cannot be from those who converted. Gimel number 3, shleiyabalei nashim. Should not increase the amount of wives that he has. Dal number 4, shleiyabalei susim. Not increase the amount of horses that he has. Hey, number 5, shleiyabalei kesef zav. Should not increase the amount of gold and silver that he has. Lo number 6, lahachim sheva amamin, to wipe out the 7 nations that inhabited Canaan. Zayin number 7, shlachas men neshama, not to keep any life from them alive. Ches number 8, limchas zara shel Amalek, to wipe out the descendants of Amalek. Tes number 9, lizka mashas Amalek, to remember what Amalek did. Yud number 10, not to forget his bad actions, and that he lay in ambush for us. Yud Aleph, number 11, not to dwell in the land of Egypt. Yud Beis, number 12, to send a peaceful greeting to those, to make peace for those who live in the city when we're laying siege on them. And to practice the halacha regarding them as is explicit in the Torah, if they're agreeing to make peace or if they're not agreeing to make peace. Yigimel 13, but the exceptions are Ammon and Moav, those people, we don't seek to make peace with them first when we're laying siege to their cities. Yudal 14, not to destroy fruit-bearing trees when we're laying siege. Tesvav 15, to prepare an area that those who are in the camp could go out, to go ahead and relieve themselves. Yudvav 16, to prepare some type of a shovel that they could dig over there to cover their excrement. Yudzayin 17, to anoint a priest. To speak in the ears of the soldiers at a time of war. Yudchas 18, that it should be that someone who's engaged, building a house, and he's planting a vineyard, that they should be smechim, they should rejoice with their acquisition for a full year. And we take them away from the war to go ahead and instead rejoice for that year. Yurtes 19, not to pass over them anything. They shouldn't go out, even for city needs, and needs of the troops, but similar things. No, these people, they have to be busy with their things, they have to rejoice for the year. Chav 20, not to be afraid, and to run backwards, to flee at a time of war with the enemy. Chav 21, din yifas Torah, the laws of the beautiful maiden. Chav 22, that the beautiful maiden that's taken by the Jewish soldiers should not be sold. Chav Gimel 23, not to subdue her for slavery after that he already cohabited with her. Nimtzu comes out, all the mitzvahs that include in this sefer of Sheftim are 74. Mehen Sheva ve'esem mitzvahs. From them there's 27 positive commandments. V'sheva v'arba mitzvahs, and there's 47 negative prohibitions. Nimtzu comes out, kol halachis shala arba asa sefer. All the quantity of the halachas of the 14 sefachim of the Yarech Hazak of the Mishneh Torah are shalish u'shmoinim halachas, are 83 halachas. V'ata ask lavar mishpatei kol mitzvah. Now says the Rambam, I'm going to start explaining the laws of every single one of these mitzvahs, which we went through the tag mitzvah and we decided which halachas are based on that and how to categorize them. And all the laws that are included in it from the topic, I'll say the halachas in the order of the halachas, be'ezer shakai, with the help of Hashem.